United Nations mission in Hodeidah calls on the warring parties to protect civilians. Houthi militia continues to target populated areas in Tai's governorate. Yemeni women and girls struggle to have access to essential healthcare services due to conflict. Welcome to Yemen Today TV. This is the English news with me, Injil Zazi. Defense Minister revealed that the security officials arrested Houthi terrorist elements who were planning to carry out operations in the liberated areas. This came during a meeting with the U.S. ambassador to Yemen and the military attached. The minister said that the Houthi militia and other terrorist organizations are serving each other. The United Nations mission to support the Hodeidah Agreement expressed deep concern about the violations committed by the Houthi militia. The mission called on the parties to respect their obligations under the Hodeidah Agreement regarding the protection of civilians, including women and children, and civilian facilities. The statement came days after Houthi missiles caused casualties among citizens in some villages. One soldier was killed when an explosive device targeting a military vehicle in El Dada Governorate. Local sources said gunmen set off an explosive device planted on the road of Qataba district while a vehicle belonging to the commander in the security-built forces was passing by. The sources confirmed the injury of an officer and the killing of his companion. In response, the security-built forces deployed their patrols and set up checkpoints to pursue the attackers. The Houthi militia bombed with heavy weapons and mortars areas and villages east of Tai's governorate. The Houthi bombing led to the displacement of people after the militia destroyed some of them with mines. Women in Yemen continue to bear burden of the war. An estimated 7.1 million women throughout Yemen require urgent access to basic healthcare services. This report has more.
Every 2 hours during childbirth, a woman dies, according to the United Nations Population Fund. Women in Yemen do not have regular checkups when pregnant, which leads to many complications during and after pregnancy. Babies are born malnourished and extremely weak. Roads in Yemen are extremely narrow. In order to go to hospitals, people go through many complications and problems. Some roads are broken or blocked due to the 9 years of the war. Years of conflict have damaged the healthcare system in Yemen. Muna is a 19-year-old Yemeni citizen who traveled for 7 hours by a camel to give birth. Muna told BBC her devastating story, saying that with every step the camel took forward, she was torn apart. In northwest Yemen's Mahwid province, the only hospital Yemenis have there is Beni Saad. In 2022, UNICEF received a contribution of $10 million from King Salman Humanitarian Aid and Relief Center to help save the lives of mothers and newborns by ensuring access to quality maternal and newborn health services in conflict-affected areas of Yemen. This funding from King Salman Humanitarian Aid and Relief Center, and with the support of UNICEF, has helped 24 hospitals to ensure provision of free quality life-saving health services for mothers and newborn babies with medical complications who otherwise would have died. But despite these contributions, there are still many people that are struggling to get access to medical care units. Muna isn't the only woman in Yemen with a devastating pregnancy story. There are many more women in the country that go through horrible pain and suffering. Pregnancy is a beautiful experience, but unfortunately for women in Yemen, it is a matter of life and death.
أغلب الحالات تولد في البيت. ما فيش وعي صحي انك كنت تتابع الحمل من بدايه الحمل. هذه من اهم الاشكاليات انه لا يتم متابعه الحمل من البدايه. وضع المادي السيء للاسره تكون صحه الام يكون عندها سوء تغذيه امراض مزمنه ما يتم علاجها. فلما توصل لنا في حاله ولاده او في عمليه توصل لنا بمضاعفات فبالتالي يكون صعب علاجها.
Gender-based violence against women is increasing, especially in the Houthi-held areas. The following report has more.
With support and funding from Doctors of the Word MDM, Yemeni Women's Union in Abyan Governorate is implementing a training course for service providers in the field of gender-based violence. within the project to improve access to basic and psychological health services and psychosocial support for conflict-affected communities in Abyan Governorate. During the training course, the participants will receive knowledge and information about gender-based violence, its forms, causes, results, and consequences, and the Islamic vision of gender concepts. Participants will also learn about the position of MDM on gender-based violence, how to prevent violence, and the guiding principles.
The aim of this training is to improve the level of health workers and service providers on how to access the Doctors of the World support service that will be established in Abyan Governorate. We hope that the course will achieve the desired goals during the 3 days program and that the participants will benefit from this training in order to improve their level of performance in the targeted health facilities. Due to the increase in the number of cases of violence in the regions of Abyan Governorate, this training program was held due to the need of health centers, which in turn enhance the improvement of the level of psychological health and psychological support services and train the participants on how to deal with such cases.
According to a recent report by Amnesty International, Yemen is a country ranked last in the World Economic Forum's Global Gender Gap Index for 13 consecutive years. Women have been suffering from gender inequality rooted in a male-controlled society with rigid gender roles. While the conflict in Yemen has had a horrific impact on all civilians generally, women and girls have been severely affected. 35% of Yemeni women have experienced physical or sexual assault. These high rates of sexual and physical violence are a result of damaging gender roles embedded within Yemeni society. In Yemen, women are forced to wear niqabs, subject to child marriage, honor killings victims, and face divorce shame.
The Public Health Office in Ma'rib Governorate recorded more than 300 cases of dengue fever in Al Wadi district. The office stressed the need to spray pesticides to eliminate mosquitoes that transmit dengue fever, malaria, and other epidemics. Coming next in the news. Years of conflict have left Yemeni youth without proper education. Welcome back. The United Nations confirmed that an estimated 2/3 of Yemen's population are in need of humanitarian assistance and protection services. As of the end of May, the Yemeni humanitarian response plan was funded by only 23% of the $4.3 billion to reach more than 17 million most vulnerable people in need of humanitarian support. Dozens of teachers who have been displaced from areas under the control of the Houthi militia Taiz carried out a protest to denounce the interruption of their salaries. The protesters called on the government to pay their salaries and approve a 30% increase in addition to annual bonuses and to enroll them on Taiz operational workers lists.
We are calling for a timely and a monthly payroll for the displaced teachers with no delay in as much as the other employees in the state. Secondly, endorsing the 30% increase in the payrolls because the displaced state workers did not receive this increase for many years. We call for the payment of our salaries that are suspended. There are a number of displaced employees whose salaries are suspended for more than 3 months. This is a big crime. We also call for endorsing the 30% increase in as much as the other employees in the state who are receiving this increase.
The education system in Yemen is on the brink of collapse. Majority of schools and universities have been destroyed due to the war. This has deprived the youth of having proper education, and high school graduates in liberated areas in Hajj are no exception. This report has more.
Behind the walls of this school, the completion of the elementary and high school education stages remained captive to the bombing and siege imposed on the liberated districts in north of Hajj Governorate. However, the success steps are still hidden behind a siege that prevents part of the dream of many students, which has been haunting them as well as their peers for 5 years while dwelling under siege. But now it has come true.
After 5 years have passed under siege, a dream has become a reality, and our children are now in the halls of high school exams. We are counting on them to create a better future for the district despite the blockade and distances from the centers of examinations as well as universities. We call on the authorities to accredit a college for the 133 high school graduates in order to continue their education.
The exams were a success after suffering for 5 years. We call on the authorities to establish universities for us, and we hope that they will support us.
The end of the high school exams for the students in the liberated districts of Midi, Hayran, Harad and Abs is a joy for the students' hard work and diligence, but the unknown future spoils this joy. The teachers, the parents and the students appeal to the authorities to establish a university to accredit colleges and vocational institutes.
We finished the high school exams at the Salam Center in Hayran district. Today is the last day of the exams, along with an atmosphere full of happiness. We hope that the local authority will provide us with a university in this area. The parents keep calling authorities if they will be a college or university for their students. I urge the authorities to find a solution for us by establishing a university.
The collapsed educational environment that Yemen suffers from due to the 9-year ongoing war destroyed the dreams of thousands of students, but hope is still there as the years of deprivation will end with constructive efforts and development projects that will fulfill students' dreams and rights within a constant educational environment.
Sources in Houthi-held capital Sana'a reported a wide-scale financial corruption practiced by the militia in the agricultural sector. They said that the Agricultural Production Support Fund wasted the resources and used them for other purposes which were allocated for it. This report has more.
Sources in the capital Sana'a, which is under the control of the terrorist Houthi militia, reported the largest financial corruption practiced by the militia in the agricultural sector. The agricultural sector is exposed to massive looting and financial corruption under the name of fake contributions. Among these, more than 8 billion riyals went to the Ministry of Agriculture and more than 1 billion riyals for the expenditures of the Agriculture Production Support Fund. Sources in Sana'a stated that the total loans granted to the Ministry of Agriculture from the fund to support and encourage agricultural and fisheries production amounted to 8,412,000,000 riyals, adding that several committees were formed to recover this huge amount, but only 10,444,000 riyals were recovered. The recovered amounts were deliberately added to the account of current expenditures by the credit bank instead of putting them in the revenue account, which revealed the militia's prior intention to spend it for purposes that conflict with the tasks of the Ministry of Agriculture and the objectives of establishing the Agricultural Fund. A committee was unable to know the size of debts of the ministry because the fund's management didn't provide all the details. Despite the existence of previous debts that have not yet been collected, the fund continues to grant loans. This comes as official reports reveal that the militia exploited the revenues of the Agricultural Production Support and Encouragement Fund for purposes outside its tasks, according to the report of the Central Agency for Control and Accountability, which is subject to the militia.
Here is a reminder of the main headlines. The United Nations mission Hodeidah called on the warring parties to protect civilians. Houthi militia continues to target populated areas in Tai's governorate. Yemeni women and girls struggle to have access to essential healthcare services due to conflict. This is the end of the news. It was Injil Zazi. Thank you for watching.